So today is first time I'll be doing someone other than Neville. I'll be doing Walter Lanyon today. However, we did start with Neville. That lecture was I Am Reality Called Imagination. And I really liked that in that one, Neville included this great definition of feeling, which when I just now looked in my database, it's in there, which is feeling is the mood that would be mine if I were who I want to be. So you in your imaginal act, you are catching the moment of this new expression of self, and contained within this new expression of self is the conviction that this is who you are because you just experienced it. Now, that is not separate from your faith and your belief that these are things you're going to express. You've felt that moment in your imagination. You felt what it would be like if it were real, because imagination is more real than this world. So you have already expressed it. So you know that inevitably it will express on the screen of space at some point. And in that period of time that it takes, you have full faith and belief that it will express. Now, I think where people get into a little bit of an issue is they think that the belief is separate from the imaginal act, and it's not. That belief, that faith, that that's what you're going to express is contained within the imaginal act itself. And if you don't visualize, if you're someone who just likes to have affirmations or a specific phrase you can connect with, well, okay, but the conviction should be included in that. So there is sort of there's a thing I've seen where, and I've been seeing this for like 2 years now, where people are like, well, what if there's something I want to express that I don't believe is possible, either for me or in general? Can I still do it if I don't believe? And to that, I kind of feel like, and so people have said, basically advise that you don't have to believe it, just do the scene, repeat the affirmation, whatever. And what I have found personally to be true is that there were times where, as long as I abandoned my current reality in the moment of the imaginal act, and yes, it was visual, well, it was using senses, like using visualization, but also using other senses too. In that moment of the imaginal act, I totally abandoned this reality. Okay. And so even though when I came out of it, I still believed it was impossible to a degree, it still happened because I abandoned that in the imaginal act, and that was enough to plant it and have it express. Now, if you're talking it down all the time mentally, that can definitely be an issue, because then that becomes your dominant feeling. And Lanyon's going to talk about that a little bit today. But in general, the thing I would have to say to people is, what's the problem with belief? Really, what's the problem with belief? So if you have manifested anything consciously, anything, even if you're just starting out, you're just doing little things, which is usually not what happens. You usually end up manifesting big stuff like weather really quickly. If you've only manifested a few things, okay, well, then the law works. And it's absolute. You know that therefore means there is one power, which is imagination. And there is only one God, there's only one force, your imagination. So what then is the issue in believing in any other thing you've assumed? Why do you think this thing is separate? Why do you think this thing is different? Do you think there's exceptions to an absolute law? Or do you just not believe in the law? Normally it comes down to there's an issue with a person's personal faith in the law. Or just that the thing they're reaching for is so far outside of their self-identity, their current self-identity, that it seems impossible to them because of the state they're in. However, in that case, I would say just keep doing it. And if there's not one scene that makes it click for you, well, this is the joy and the beauty of fishing. Try a bunch of different scenes. Try a bunch of different imaginal conversations. If you like affirmations, try a bunch of different ones. If you like scripting, Scripting, write the story a couple different ways until it clicks that, oh, I am that person. I could be that character. Like, that's totally possible for me. I can see myself doing that. I can feel the reality of what my life would be like if that were true. Once you've caught that, you've caught it. Don't waste your time working against it. That's usually what happens is that people are working against it. And I think the only reason that's really coming up is they just don't have a faith in the law yet. Once you have that faith in the law, that starts to go away. And then it becomes more like, well, the questions become more like, well, what is the specific expression I want of this thing? What are the details I want to see fulfilled? And, what is the deeper desire here? Because a lot of things have a deeper desire. They have some root core desire that you're looking to express. And so sometimes it's like, well, you can, like, if say if it's money, but your true desire is a sense of security. So you can end up manifesting a bunch of money and still not feel secure because you went to the wrong end. You went after the wrong, well, not the wrong desire, but you went after what Neville would call a secondary desire. So there's primary desires and secondary desires. And the primary desires are the thing that you really want to express. The secondary desires are like details or like ways that you think that thing might express. But in manifesting a large sum of money, you maybe didn't even include that sense of security in this new feeling, new embodiment of you. So now you're a rich person who's always worried about your money. That happened to a lady who went to Neville's lectures. And actually, she had a serious faith problem. So what happened is everyone who was attending the lectures manifested it for her. And she got so suspicious of other people after she manifested the money, thinking that people only wanted to be her friend to get money from her, that she stopped going to meetings. She fell totally asleep, totally isolated herself from the rest of the world, became like a depressed hermit. And yeah, it was just, there was no happy ending to that story. It was a sad ending. And that's because she wasn't a person who was looking to be fully awake. And this probably was not her primary desire, But if you can get that hurdle out of the way, manifest faith in the law, which is one of the first things I did, it's going to open up. It's going to make it easier as you progress and as you keep going, but then it's going to open up a lot of possibilities in your unfoldings, and really the speed with which you can express new things, especially for other people. I have been really surprising myself more and more lately with how quickly I've been able to manifest things for other people. And really the key is in the moment of the imaginal act, and whatever that means to you, that I really let go of how I saw that person before. If just for that moment, really let go of it, like truly let go of it and truly see them in this new light. And it doesn't matter if it's a seeming other or it's the self, it's the same thing. There has to be abandonment of the evidence of the senses, abandonment of the exterior world, your Esau, in the moment of the imaginal act. And however you accomplish that is fine. For some people, and for me it has been many times, to go into a quiet room, turn off all the lights, make the room as quiet as possible, and spend some time in an I am meditation first. Plenty of other times, though, for me, it's doing some other activity, like, ironically, an activity I don't like, which is doing the dishes, showering, just kind of walking from one part of the room to the other. Like, there are certain little activities that disengage me just enough from my current thoughts and my current experience of this seeming reality, enough that I can successfully impress using basically a daydream type reverie. And it's one of these things where the more you practice it, the more you're going to find these little smaller states for yourself. And the more you adjust your overall assumptions about manifesting, about what's possible to you, about who you are, the easier these things are going to get. So really, I mean, my rant there was, what's the problem with belief? Like, why is it such an issue for you to believe? Like, say you're someone who's doing the barrage of affirmations, which actually Walter Lanyon has a criticism about, and I think we're going to read it today. If not, we'll come across it at a future date. What's the problem with belief? Really, it's not that hard to believe in what you want, and that what you want is going to come to you. And I mean, if you really feel that it's really a problem, and it's something easy, it's something simple, like it's something like a new job or a committed relationship or a new bodily condition, especially one you've had before. For I know for a lot of people who want to, lose weight or adjust their appearance in some way or recover their health, like really, why is that such a gap? Why is there a gap in belief there for you? It's probably because you have other assumptions, you have other things going on in your self identity right now that are contrary to this new state. And those are the things you have to abandon. And sometimes you have to work on those things separately.